See, the route you on right now is the route you got to take. And it's very uniquely yours. This thing you going through, this is just uniquely yours. You just got to understand you ain't the only one. You ain't the only one going through it.
When we go through opposition, these challenging times, we don't have to fall apart. God controls the whole universe. He won't allow anything to happen unless he knows how to bring good out of it. But you have to do your part and keep your faith stirred up. The enemy would love to deceive you into burying your dream, thinking that it's never going to work out. Don't believe those lies. It's not too late to become all that you were created to be. And every time you remember your dream, every time you say, Lord, thank you for bringing it to pass, you're removing some dirt. You're digging it back out. Maybe you've struggled with an illness for a long time. Early on, you believed you could get well, but now it's been years and you're just learning to live with it. What's happened is your healing, your breakthrough, your freedom has gotten buried. It's still in you. It's still alive. If you'll start believing again, God can bring it to pass. Instead of thinking, well, it's never going to work out. I've had so many bad medical reports. That's putting more dirt on it. That's burying it deeper. Why don't you get your shovel out and start removing some of that dirt? How do you do that? Lord, thank you that you're restoring health back into me. Thank you that the number of my days you will fulfill. Thank you that I'm getting stronger, healthier. If you'll keep talking, thinking like that, that dream that's been buried is going to come back to life. This is what allows God to do great things. God is moved by our faith. He's not moved by our discouragement, by our complaining, by our self-pity. Joel, I'm never going to meet the right person. I've been hurt too many times. You're remembering the wrong thing. As long as you remember the hurt, you're going to get stuck. Turn it around. Start remembering your dream.
I don't know nobody that's not trying to be happy or successful. If you're not trying to be those two things, something's seriously wrong. And you got to go get yourself some help.
It's not about me. It's not about the other people. It's about you. It's about you making a difference and you making the necessary changes to get what you want out of your life. The time is now. You can't do it tomorrow. You can't do it yesterday. You got right now. Build on that. Find a solution to your problems. Don't depend on other people to change you. Don't depend on other people to evolve you. Being different, as I've always said, is nothing wrong with being different. Stand out in the crowd. Don't be like everybody else. Don't feel that you got to belong to a group of people for people to respect you. If you don't like where you are, then you must change what you do. But not just change, start evolving. Evolve into something that's unique. Become something great. Believe in yourself. And understand that it takes work. And it takes an idea. You have to understand that there's going to be some sacrifices that you must make. So when are you going to make a change? When are you going to finally realize that it's up to you? What you need to be focusing on is a better life, a better understanding, a better you. And if you're not willing to work on that, if you're not willing to change that, then how strong do you really think you will be in the rest of the life that you've been given?
Think about your dream right now. I want you to think about it and envision it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me share something with you. I do not believe that any of us have dreams that were not given to us for the purpose of accomplishing those particular dreams. And I want to share something with you that has changed my life. I started out, as was indicated by Jack, some very humble beginnings. I don't know what that dream is that you have. I don't care how far-fetched it might appear to be. I don't care how disappointing it might have been as you've been working toward that dream. But here's what I know, that dream that you're holding in your mind, that it's possible.
And I'm going to tell you right now, it won't be easy. It will be hard because life is hard. That's what life is. And these challenges that you face, they're going to do their best to take you down. Do not let them. Stand up, dig in. Line up those problems and confront them. Face them. Fight them. Do not let them bring you down. In fact, let those challenges raise you up. Let them elevate you. Let their demands and their trials make you stronger. Let the adversity you face today turn you into a better person tomorrow. So in the future, you look back at these struggles and you say to them, thank you. You made me better.
We all face difficulties that don't look like they'll ever change. Seems like the more we pray, the worse it gets. We don't see any sign of things improving. It's easy to live discouraged and accept that it's not meant to be. But Paul said in 2 Corinthians, our present troubles are small and won't last very long. These troubles will soon be over, but the joy to come will last forever. What you're up against may look permanent. Seems like it's going to take years to get well, years to get out of debt, years to meet the right person. Don't be fooled by what you see. God is saying the trouble is only temporary. It's not going to last very long. Soon it's going to be over. Soon you're going to see the breakthrough. Soon your health is going to turn around. Soon you're going to meet the person of your dreams. You may not see how this can happen. Everything in your reasoning says it's not possible. You're looking at it in the natural. We serve a supernatural God. He can make things happen that you can't make happen. And instead of thinking of all the reasons why it's not going to work out, how it's going to take forever, try a different approach. Father, thank you that this difficulty will soon be over. Thank you that this sickness, this depression, this family problem will not last very long.
You just got to hope. Sometimes you ain't strong enough to believe, but you can always be strong enough to just hope. That I hope God come get me. I hope I make it. See, what they tell you when you read the scripture and you say faith is the substance of things hoped for. What faith really is just hard hoping. And I just took that hope and just kept hope alive. If you can keep hoping, man, you have a chance. You just can't become hopeless. The devil is busy, man. The devil has one job. That's to rob you of your destiny. That's his only position in life. He don't care if you get money, a car, a house. As long as he can rob you of your destiny, that's the devil's whole mission in life. He just want to rob. He just wants you to not be what God made you to be. But if you can remain hopeful in spite of all adversity, like it was times in my car, man, I felt like quitting. I felt like giving up. Living in a car is not a simple task, but I just, some days I just said, man, God, I hope something happens. Come on. All you got to do is hope. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen.
Before you, he will never give you an assignment without giving you the ability, the strength to make it through victoriously.
I've always known this, but somebody told me something one time about forgiveness. Forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is you. See, your unwillingness to forgive another person is like you sipping the poison waiting on them to die. You can't sip the poison of unforgiveness and expect them to die. Forgiveness is for you.
Forgive and grow. I had to let that luggage go. You see, your mind is, you know, when you go into a service station to get gas, you don't go in there and just start pumping. When you push the lever up, it clears the previous bill. By the same token, if you want to begin to move, you've got to clear your mind of all the unnecessary luggage and baggage that's weighing us down. I couldn't move. I couldn't think about what am I going to do to get out of this situation, because I was so concerned about what happened and what he did to me and how bad it was. I was so stuck in that I couldn't even focus on what I should have done. Feeling sorry for myself and angry, and none of that was taking me anywhere. So pretty soon I learned through effort, made a conscious, deliberate, determined effort. I had to let it go. I had to forgive it. Let it go and begin to focus on developing myself. And I say to you, you're going to have people to do things to you. Things are going to happen to you. And the most important thing to do is to harness your will and let it go and move so you can grow, so you can get on with your life. It doesn't matter about what happens to you. What matters is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do now, Les? Huh? How long are you going to tell everybody? How long are you going to repeat the same thing over and over and over and over and over again? How many times do we have to hear that? Don't go around telling people what your story is. Everybody has a story. 80% don't care and 20% glad it's you.
You do not have enough strength to manage yesterday's pain. This is why you have arthritis and hypertension and diabetes and sickness and affliction. You're aging before your time. This is why you got to take a pill to get to bed, a pill to get up in the morning. You're waking up tired at 30 years old. You are carrying too much. You're loaded down with your mama's problems, your sister's problems, your kids' problems, your friends' problems, problems at church, problems at home, problems on your job. You're carrying all of that, and you go over and over and over and over. God said, let it go. You are younger than you think you are. You are younger than you think you are. What is it that has convinced you that you're old? You're carrying too much. You got too much weight on you. You got all kinds of cumulative effect of weight all through your life, all the way back into your childhood. You're 40 years old, still upset about who didn't raise you, who wasn't there for you, what your mama said about you. She always liked your sister better than you. And you sit up there 50 years old grieving over something that happened when you were 8. That's why you feel old. That's why your relationships are failing, because you have never divorced yourself. You have never divorced. You are not single. And you're carrying with you the pains from the first relationship over into the second one, over into the third one. Jim, don't do that. That's exactly what Fred used to do. You're going to bed with 5 people every night. Everybody who ever been with you, everybody who ever left you, everybody who ever betrayed you, they still in the bed with you every night. No wonder. How could you sleep? Put them people out of your bed. Put them out of your head. Touch 3 people and say, let it go, let it go. If you let all those people go and what they said and what they did, you'd be younger, you'd be happier, you'd be freer, you'd be loose, you'd be creative, you'd be responsive. It can only happen. Let it go.
A person who can forgive nothing is a person who's totally destroyed psychologically and emotionally. So how do you deal with forgiveness? Number one, forgive your parents. You do not become an adult until you have forgiven your parents 100% for every mistake they ever made. Remember, it's never too late to have a happy childhood, so just go back and forgive your parents. If they're no longer with you, forgive them and let them go. So the second thing, forgive any relationship that you ever had that didn't work out. Now this is hard because it's so personal and it's so painful. But if you can forgive your parents, it's a real good warm-up. Most people are still mad at their parents in their 50s. If you then forgive every previous relationship, you accept that you were at least partially responsible for getting into the relationship, You were definitely responsible for staying in the relationship. You just say, I am responsible, I am responsible, I am responsible. I bless them and let them go. And just let it go. Because in letting them go, you set yourself free. By not letting them go, you're keeping yourself in prison, in an emotional prison. The third thing that you can do is forgive everybody else. Forgive everyone else in your life that has ever hurt you in any way. Every past childhood slight, every sibling, every person in your family, every person you ever worked for, every lousy boss or person who cheated you, lied to you, robbed you, and everything else, and so on. I mean, just let it go. Just let it go. Remember, it's a selfish act. You're doing it for yourself. And finally, number 4, this is really critical, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Now, I have it on good authority. I've done some research on you before you came here, and I find that every single person here has done some wicked, senseless, brainless, foolish, cruel, idiotic, stupid things in their life. Is that true? Say yes. Okay. Let it go. And please understand this, the person who did those things no longer lives, no longer exists. The person you were in the past is a different person than you are today. The person you are today wouldn't do those things because you now have wisdom, you have hindsight, you have intelligence, you understand consequences. So the person you are today is a different person from the person you were back then. So don't keep beating yourself up because that other person, another person, did something that today you disapprove of. All right? Just let yourself go. Let yourself off the hook. And when you let it all go, it's almost like a huge burden off your back. You just forgive everybody and you forgive everything, and on a go-forward basis, you just forgive everybody. You don't have any negativities at all. No negativity toward anybody. You're just a positive person. And if you'll do that, if you accept responsibility like yourself and forgive everyone else, you become a truly superior person. Most amazing darn thing.
You can never be free of bitterness as long as you continue to think unforgiving thoughts. How can you be happy in this moment if you continue to choose to think angry and resentful thoughts? Thoughts of bitterness cannot create joy. No matter how justified you feel you are, no matter what they did, if you insist on holding on to the past, then you will never be free. Forgiveness of yourself and of others will release you from the prison of the past.
I used to do door-to-door sales, and I was working with another friend of mine, and door-to-door sales, I mean, it's punishing. It's cruel and unusual punishment. And I was a little boy knocking on the door. Hello, would you like to buy a nice working television set, no money down? No! Bam! They slammed the door in your face. And the friend of mine that was working with me, they slammed the door in his face, and I looked back, and he was going to the car. He said, I can't do this. And he sat down in the car and he said, you go ahead, I'll be here when you get back. Now he had a mother and father to take care of him. My mother was ill. I am adopted. I was hungry. I had to go on. I learned something about myself. That when you step into your fears, somebody said, it was Winston Churchill, he said that courage is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. When you step into your fears and continue to push yourself to go on, something happens for you. It will enable you to transcend yourself. I went to the next door. You like to buy a nice working television? No! Bam! Went to the next one. No! Bam! After a while, I no longer took it personal. And I began to play a game. I said, well, I know there's a yes out here somewhere. And I'm going to keep on till I find it. And I'm not going home until I do. And I continue to knock on doors. And then somebody eventually would say yes. And I said, are you sure? And I would go in there and I would get the sale. When you have something you want to do, if you don't develop the courage to do that which has been given you to do, and you spend a lot of time going around trying to convince other people or trying to get their approval, what will happen is that you will lose your nerve, and other people will convince you that what you're doing doesn't have any value, and you'll give up on your dream.
One of my friends woke up one day, David, and he said, sitting at the yacht club, having a drink, sitting sort of in a fog, something spoke to him and said, what could you really have done if you hadn't have been in this condition the last 15, 20 years of your life? You know, he wasn't like an out-and-out alcoholic, but he just, he drank too much. And he started thinking about that. what could I have really accomplished? You know, he wasn't bad enough to where he couldn't function, but he said that day when he thought back of what he really could have done if he hadn't have sort of stumbled around in a bit of a fog all those years, how his life would be. And he said from that day on he never touched another drink of alcohol. Then he died about 5 years after that. But his wife said to me that last 5 years were the greatest years of our marriage, when that one day he woke up and said, wow, this is not good. What could I have done if I hadn't have been sort of semi-conscious these last 15, 20 years? And that was a very special day for him. Sometimes it's a cataclysmic event. Sometimes it's that moment. Who can really explain it? Only the person it happens to, I guess, can really explain what that inner voice was that says, I'm on the wrong track here. I wonder what I could really do if I kicked this habit or got rid of this obsession. So those are the days that turn your life around.
While life-changing days can be as cataclysmic as never touching another drop of alcohol, or as simple as lying to a Girl Scout, every life-changing day holds something in common. They all involve an internal battle inside our own heads, a battle that must be won.
A lady said to me that I met once in New York. She was vice president of this company. She made big money. I don't think she finished her high school education. She was still young, with a young family. And I said to her, how did you get here? This is a tough business. You make big money. You didn't graduate from high school. What happened? And she said, well, let me tell you part of the story. She said, years ago, one day I asked my husband for $10. And he said, what for? She said, by the end of that day, I had promised myself that I would never, ever ask for money again. And she said, yes, I am vice president. Yes, I do make big money. Yes, I am young. Yes, I did not graduate from high school. But she said, I promise you, Mr. Rohn, from that day until this, I have never asked for money again. She said, I started searching for opportunity, found it, started taking some classes, learned the skills, totally changed my life. I'm sure she would say that was one of the days that turned her life around.
There is a day, seemingly like any other, when everything changes. It's the day when you make the decisions, once and for all, to walk a new road toward the goals that until that fateful day have only been misty dreams. It's the day you say, I've had it with living a life of poor health, an empty bank account, and broken promises, where you're suddenly filled with the resolve to do whatever it takes to finally live the life you have always known you are capable of living. It's the day when you're filled with the awareness that time is precious and that each day that passes by unnoticed is like releasing a helium balloon into the sky. Soon it will be a distant memory, never to be seen again. It's the day you decide to seize those precious moments and make every one of them count. It's the day that turns your life around.
You've got to do this. I was going to give a presentation, and this voice inside of me saying, you can't do this. You don't have everything it takes. I shut up. I'm behind on my bills, and you're telling me what I can't do. I have got to do it. You'll get scared sometimes. Your mind will go blank on you. Some people you will allow to unnerve you, and you wonder, what's wrong with me? I'm not crazy. That's why you've got to learn to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to stand up inside yourself, working on yourself, watching that inner dialogue. It will determine the quality of your life. I don't believe this. I know this. I've had a challenge of losing weight. I'm walking through the airport, this voice say, why don't you have some M&M peanuts? No! Well, just one. Then after you eat that, you might as well have a Snicker now, you sucker. I mean, it's challenging. My mother fixed the kind of sweet potato pie you can't eat with your shoes on. Have to take your shoes off so you can wiggle your toes. It sticks on my fingers. It says, eat it. One little bite won't hurt. That voice, constantly. Little demons from Colonel Sanders driving my car in there. I had to say, no. No, no, no. I'll diet tomorrow. I saw a skinny man get hit by a truck.
you want to do anything worthwhile in life, you've got to be hungry.
People getting ready to go to jobs that they don't like, jobs that are making them sick. What is it that you could love doing 7 days a week that'll bring a smile to your face? People don't do what they know in life, but what they do is they operate within the context of the vision they have of themselves. Think about something that's important to you, something that gives your life a sense of value. Think about something that you'd like to have, or something you'd like to create for you or your family or for society. I want you to hold this thought in mind. Now, one of the first things I want you to do is don't worry about the inner conversation that you're going to have. Don't worry about how you're going to do it. That's going to come. You're going to develop a plan of action. You will find the way. You'll become the kind of person that can attract the people, the resources, and everything you need in order to make that become reality. But I want you to be mindful of your inner conversation. That inner conversation, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason that most people take their greatness, take their ideas to the graveyard with them. The wealthiest place on the planet is not the gold mines in the various areas of the world or the diamond mines. The wealthiest place on the planet is the graveyard. Because in the graveyard we will find inventions that we never ever were exposed to, ideas, dreams that never became reality, hopes and aspirations that were never acted upon. Because most people allow that inner conversation, for whatever reason, to keep them from ever pursuing their goals. So let us begin to look at what's required in order to make this our decade. Why is it that most people don't ever reach their goals or live up to their true potential? One is fear. And there are only two kinds of fears that we're born with: the fear of falling and the fear of a loud sound. All other fears we learn, like the fear of failure. The next is the fear of success. That's one of the major challenges I had to deal with. I was working on a major project, and after it began to grow and it was extremely successful, I panicked and I walked away from it and gave it to someone else because I didn't believe that I could handle it. The other thing that keeps most people from reaching their goals is that a lot of people become comfortable. They stop growing. They stop wanting anything. They become satisfied. The other thing that keeps us from reaching our goal is not feeling worthy. That's where a lot of people get stuck. Because see, when you don't feel worthy of your goal, you'll begin to unconsciously engage in self-destructive behavior, like procrastinating, constantly putting things off, squandering your time, and that's what life is made of. Something else that keeps us from reaching our goal, and that is many times because we spend so much time complaining and blaming everybody. You've got to start saying yes to your life. You've got to start saying yes to your dreams, yes to your unfolding future, yes to your potential.
The major key to your reaching your dream, your living up to your greatness, your making your contribution is you. They're living out of the past, out of their memory. The attitude is it can't be done because they haven't seen it. They're judging according to appearances. The people that are going to make it in the future, the people that are making it today, let me share something with you. History is being read, but it's also being written by people with imagination.
I love everybody, and that's the key. You know what I'm saying? Love is the answer, and I promote love. You ain't gonna get, I don't care. You can piss me off and try to make me mad and try to make me fold. It's not happening. It's not gonna work. Meaning as I'm not gonna say nothing ignorant, nothing. I show love, and that's what it's about. It's about peace, love, unity, and it's just about great energy. You know what I'm saying? Because we have life.
One of the things psychologists have done for the last 20 years, especially the social psychologists, is push this idea of self-esteem. You should feel good about yourself. And I think, why would you tell someone 20 that? It's like, you should feel good about who you are. It's like, no, you shouldn't. Why should you feel good about who you are? It's like, you should feel good about who you could be. That's way better because you got 60 years to turn into who you could
wait
be.
a minute.
I'm not saying that people shouldn't have confidence, but like often you take young people, say they're 16 to 22, and they're not really feeling that good about who they are.
Right.
Because their life is chaotic and in disorder and they don't know where they're going and they don't know which way is up.
Also, there could be bad parenting,
Oh, God, yes, yeah.
bullying.
Oh, yes.
There could be a lot of abuse going on. And I think
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why that resonates with people, this idea of be happy about who you are.
Right.
Feel good about who you
Right.
are.
But the thing is, it has to be stated with precision. You should treat yourself as if you're valuable, especially in potential. But you should concentrate on who you should become, especially if you're young. And so let's say you're miserable and nihilistic and chaotic and depressed and all of that now, and you have your reasons, you know, terrible parenting, abuse, all of those things. It's like, well, you should feel good about yourself. It's like, no, it's not the right message. Is that it's more like you should understand how much potential there is within you to set that straight. And then you should do everything you can to manifest that in the world, and it will set it straight. And that's better than self-esteem. It's like you're in a crooked, horrible position. Okay, fine. There's a lot of suffering and pain associated with that. Yeah, you can't just feel good about that because it's not good. But you can do something about it. You can genuinely do something about it. And I think all the evidence suggests that that's the case.
Yes.
So I'm telling young people, look, there's no matter how bad your situation is, I'm not going to pretend it's okay. It's not okay. It's tragic, tainted with malevolence. And some people really get hurt by malevolent people, like, you know, terribly hurt. Sometimes they never recover. It's really awful. But there's more to you than you think. And if you stand up and face it with a positive, with a noble vision, with discipline and intent, you can go far farther to overcoming it than you can imagine. And that's the principle upon which you should predicate your behavior. And I think that one of the things that's really nice about being a clinical psychologist is that this isn't just guesswork. Like one of the things, we know two things in clinical psychology. One is truthful conversations redeem people. Because if you come to a clinical psychologist whose worth is salt, you have a truthful conversation. The conversation is, well, here's what's wrong with my life. And here's what caused it. You know, maybe it takes a year to have that conversation. And both of the participants are doing everything they can to lay it out properly. Here's how it might be fixed. Here's what a beneficial future might look like. And so it's a completely honest conversation if it's working well. And all that's happening in the conversation is that the two people involved are trying to make things better. That's the goal. Let's see if we can have a conversation that will make things better. Okay, so we know that works. It does make things better. And then another thing we know is that, well, let's say there's a bunch of things that you're afraid of that are in your way. So you have some vision about who you want to be. Maybe you have to, you know, you want to be successful in your career, so you have to learn to talk in front of a group. It's like, okay, well, you're afraid of that. It's like, no wonder you don't want to be humiliated. So, okay, so what do we do about that? Well, maybe we first get you to speak in front of one person and then 3 people, you know, for 5 minutes and then for 10 minutes, like graduated exposure to what you're afraid of. Voluntary graduated exposure to what you're afraid of is curative.